They call me a monstrous woman. They say I am evil, sinful, bloodthirsty, fierce, grim-minded, and greedy for wanting to avenge my son's death. If one of Hrothgar's kin was brutally maimed, I find it hard to believe that he would sit peacefully and accept the crime that was committed. As king of the Danes, it would only be right for him to seek out the culprit of the crime and enact revenge. Beowulf himself said, "It is always better to avenge one's friend than to mourn overmuch." Taking this advice to heart, I see it as my maternal duty to care for my only child and let the people know that they should not mess with the water witch. Truthfully, I would feel like a failure were I to sit in my lake crying and taking no action against those who wronged my family. How foolish the Danes and the Geats were to assume they could get away with injuring my dear Grendel. Admittedly enough, I was surprised that they even managed to injure my son. For 12 whole winters had Grendel been taking his nightly jaunts to the Heorot with no issue. Some may say he was evil for causing damage like he did. However, I say it was shameful that we were banished from society due to our descendants from Cain. A person has no choice over their family, even less so ancient blood relatives. I consider it a disgrace and downright antagonizing that Hrothgar would erect a mead hall near the home of my dear boy, fully knowing he could not join in their merriment. The Danes were asking for their party to be crashed, and my son happened to be the party crasher. Considering his ventures went on for 12 long winters, the Danes only have themselves to blame. Had they wanted to truly put an end to Grendel's joyrides, one would think the Danes would have taken action a little bit sooner. My dear Grendel only found himself in trouble once that dreaded Beowulf arrived at the scene. On that ill-fated night, my sweet boy came home to me, a mangled mess. He was without an arm and wailing in pain, and it was at that moment I knew the Danes would pay the price for his suffering. In order to lull them into a false sense of security, I gave them some time to celebrate in their success of hurting my only son. Once they thought themselves to be in calm water, I decided to venture to the mead hall myself. As the men of Beowulf slept, I took captive Hrothgar's confidant and found Grendel's arm. Before anyone knew what had happened, I went back to my lake with treasures in hand. Along the way, I decided that since they took the arm off my only child, I would do them one better. So I decapitated Eshere and left his head there on the cliff next to my lake as a sign of my maternal power. That would teach those Danish and Geatish fools a lesson on who is truly in power around here.